What's up, Internet Land? Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Transformers third-party review. Continuing with the Iron Factory doodads. Been reviewing a lot of those lately. They're a lot of fun. We've got the War Giant Blasters, Spinvulture, and Booster Spear. Yeah, they're really cool figures. I like them a lot. They are lots of fun, good posability, good playability, and just a whole heap of fun to play with. Let's see if I can do the Iron Man pose on this guy. Well, I mean, I know I can because it's shown on the box. eh, 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 eh. If I work with it a bit more, I'll make it look really nice. But anyhow, so these figures are, these are continuing their line of not Combaticons that definitely don't combat and or icon. Yeah, Combaticons. But these are kind of done up in the Iron Factory pretty much always does figures in an IDW style. And so these are meant to mimic or represent the IDW style Combaticons. And so I'm going to start with just the one guy. This is Spinvulture, probably because there's a part of him that spins and, I don't know, vulture something. But it doesn't show up on camera really well. Actually, on my camera, it looks like the color here almost entirely blends in with my backdrop. But in hand, I can tell you that that is absolutely not the case. It's the weirdest little, like, something about the lighting or whatnot. But this is actually a very strong shade of teal. It is very, very different from my background. And I don't know why. I don't know why cameras have a hard time picking up on it. I was watching a review because I was actually looking for a specific part, to be honest. And all the reviews that I've seen show this as being just basically like blue. And I'm like, man, I wonder if like they had like a pre-production sample and it was blue initially and now it's teal. But no, I'm pretty certain after getting it on video and whatnot that that it shows up gray and blue on camera, but in hand it is definitely like this baby blue here and this strong shade of teal here. If you've got this is basically the same colors as the why has it lost my mind? As the Combiner Wars. If you have the Combiner Wars Vortex, I think that colors are pretty much quite like this. But yeah, Spinvulture, he's really cool. He comes with this gun here. It's interesting, actually. Hold that thought. The box shows him with these additional blasters. That's actually when I went off to go look at the other reviews, is looking specifically for these blasters here. You see him here, you see him here, you see him over his shoulders here. And they're nowhere in the box. And there's no, if you look at the plastic insert, there's no space for them. They're nowhere to be found. They weren't included in the little baggie. Nothing like that. The only accessories that it came with was, you know, this figure, this gun, this figure with his gun, and these little suckers here. It came with a set of, I don't know what these are even for. And then it came with a little shockwave for people who aren't man enough to use the real shockwave. And that's it. There was no space for those little like arm mounted guns that he had. So At first, I panicked because I thought that I lost it. I'm actually borrowing this from a friend of mine. Actually, a friend of mine bought it and had it shipped straight to my house. And so I opened it up and messing with it, and I saw that and I was like, oh shit, I lost something. They're gonna kill me. They're never gonna trust me with anything of theirs ever again. But no, I am 100% certain that it's not here. And because none of the other reviews I've looked at have got it either. So I don't know, for some reason they got canned or canceled. I see that they've got like little no, I can't imagine why. Anyhow, in terms of posability, his arms are on ball joints. These rotors are all are on joints, and I kind of like that they didn't go what is almost a traditional route at this point for third-party figures to have the blades turn into like swords. I kind of like that, and yet the other hand, it would have been nice for him to have like some like swords. I just kind of like robots with swords. But his arm goes out all the way. You get the full tree pose there. Double joint on the elbow. So he's got the full range of articulation there. His head, which by the way, his head looks great. Let me focus on his head for a second. Just the mouth plate and visor, and it looks really good and it pops really well. That like red paint app just looks really vibrant. Sitting in the middle of his face. Purple chest. Most of these figures have a purple chest, don't they? Actually, they all do, except for Brawl, who's got a purple midsection. Waist articulation. There we go. Waist articulation. He does have, as I was trying to do the Iron Man pose, he does have a bit of an ab crunch. Technically, this is a joint for something else. But you know what? If it's there, fucking use it, man. That's what I say. His legs go all the way forward and most all the way back. Full Van Damme on the hips there. He's got a thigh swivel. Nice. He's got a double jointed knee, which is a little tricky to use because the lower joint likes to move a lot more freely than the upper joint. But if you bend the upper joint and then bend the lower joint, you can get a fair degree of bend out of it. Though if you're just only using one joint, you can get about 90 degrees out of either one. His toe is on a joint, just the toe though. But you know, if he's doing a stand, you can like, oh shit, let's focus. If he's doing a pose like standing out or something like that, you can put his toes down and it works really, really well. And his blades do kind of like to pop off from time to time because they are put on there with a with just a single peg, and they get bumped around a lot. His gun, you can hold it forwards. I like to mount it on the back of his hand, just mostly because one of the shots on the packaging art shows that, and I'm like, that looks really cool. Otherwise, you've got, this whole section here kind of gets in the way of his forearm a bit, or limits his articulation ever so slightly. But yeah, really great little figure, really, really nice little vortex. So let's move him off to the side and let's bring in Booster Spear, which clearly is not Blast Off. Gosh, at this point it doesn't even look like Blast Off, huh? Actually, it looks exactly like him. I don't know. One of these days, some Hasbro representative is going to be like, wait a second. That's ours. But this figure is also really solid, really nice. I'm just impressed with the Iron Factory figures. It's difficult for me as somebody who turns on the screen and then continues to ramble for 20 minutes at a time to convey in each video that I review Iron Factory stuff how impressed I am with Iron Factory stuff. Iron Factory, I'm not gonna. I think the Unique Toys Legends. I don't know. There's some things I really liked about them, and some things that I thought could have been a little bit better. But I think I don't know. I'm gonna have to take some more time to get to know the DX9 and Unique Toys Legends figures. But they it's a toss up between them and Iron Factory. Which one does the best Legends figures? Like if you're getting a Iron Factory figure, you know it's going to be a good figure. That's just the bottom line. So again, very good proportions on this guy. Very good visual style. The colors are great, and they actually show up a lot better on camera than Vortex did. Actually, they show up almost like they do in person on camera. It's just weird. Some colors just don't like the camera, and some colors do. Not a whole lot in terms of kibble. Of course, he's got, the wings fold up onto his arms, and this part folds up on the back. But the figures pretty much all have to have kibble somewhere. That's basically the understanding that you have to come to with Transformers. In terms of articulation, his head is on a little bit of a ball joint. I mean, his head is on a ball joint, which allows really not much motion except for swivel. His shoulders are on a double hinge here, which allows them a lot of range of articulation. Plus, they'll go out like even more than a tree pose. Shoot. He's got these little shoulder things around flaps. I like to keep them up. But I mean, I suppose you can put them down if you want, so you can have droopy shoulders or like alert looking shoulders. Bicep swivel here, goes all the way around. Elbow joint allows for a greater than 90-degree bend. That's nice out of a single joint. Wrist swivel here. He's got a waist swivel. Again, there is a joint in the waist. This is harder to use because more of his stuff in this section here wants to move instead of be solid. But he'll allow for a little bit of ab crunch, which is great. Ball jointed hips allow for range that far forward, that far back. Full Van Damme out, so long as you don't get everything crashing into each other. Single bend at the knee allows for less than 90-degree bend. If you really go crazy, you can pop this joint out and get just barely over 90-degree. Just a little bit over 90-degree, but then you have this like gaping hole in the front of his knee. I don't know I don't know that it feels very good to have a gaping hole in the front of your knee. If you have a gaping hole in the front of your knee, leave a comment. Let us know how much it sucks. Ball jointed at the ankle allows for pretty good range of articulation. Even his toe will go forward a bit, not really backwards a bit because it all crashes in back here. If you really want to, you can pull this down, and then he has a smaller foot. Actually, I have never tried to stand him up with his toes like that. I wonder if it'll even... Doesn't seem very stable at all. Yeah, it's not. It's a bad idea. Forget I said anything. But yeah. So, transformation on these guys. Let's start with this guy because I've got him in my hand right now. Right this very moment, in fact. First thing we're going to do here is we're going to push on his head. And we're going to push on it till it folds down like that. The shoulders are going to fold down. There's a tab right in here and a slot right there on his forearm. That's going to go into there. This is, by the way, a really tight fit. Like it snaps in. I'm just like, ew. It's a rough snap. We're going to take the arms, put them straight up, and then it's going to fold in on this double joint. So we're going to do the same with this other arm. Push that in. Pray to the Transformer gods that you don't snap anything. And then we're going to take these hands, we're going to point them in towards each other. They're going to kind of touch each other like that. And then There are 2 tabs here. There's slots that you can't really see in all this clear plastic, but trust me, they're there. It's going to tab into there. That's going to put together. Oh, it's almost starting to look like a little shuttle thingamajig. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to open up this panel on the front of the leg. Do that on both sides. There's a double joint in here. We're going to pull that around, push it all the way in, and then close this panel back up. Same with the other side. Push it around, put it all the way in, close it back up. There's a big old tab back here. Goes into the corresponding slot on the other side. Now we're going to take the feet. We're going to angle them forward a bit, rotate them all the way around, and then push them in so they're basically like flush in here. Not really flush, but they'll fold in. They've got a nice little alcove that they go into. And then last but not least, we're going to take these, extend them out, turn them up. There's this big obvious tab in here. There's a corresponding slot on the shuttle itself. And that's it for that. A couple things to keep in mind in this mode. It's actually really nice, like a little space shuttle-ish thing. He does have landing gear. And what you can do for that is you can fold these suckers out here. And then he's got little landing gear on the back here, and you can angle the feet out a bit. It's not going to want to sit on the landing gear with these things in the way. And then it'll sit just quite nicely on its tiny little landing gear. No real place to put the gun in the alt mode, because you got these, and these, you know, kind of sit on this other side of the wing, and there's really no other place for these to go. But I guess you could plug it into the top here, have it just look dumb. I don't know. For the Spinvulture guy, we're going to remove this here. We're going to fold his arms all the way up. All the way up. We're going to turn his head around so that you don't see his face, because he does have a little bit of visible head syndrome. Fold that up. This tabs into these slots there on his chest. There are slots here on the side of his chest, and this tabs here on his arm, and those are going to tab meet slot, tab meet slot. He also has visible hand syndrome. I'm going to take this off just for convenience because I'm lazy. We're going to open up the back of his legs. We're going to rotate this around. Oh yeah, we're going to fold the toes up too, like so. And so this is a little bit tricky. So what we got to do, make sure the legs are tabbed together. There's tabs. You can see these tabs right in there. And there's slots on the back of the little toe sections. We're going to put the tabs in the slots. And then we got to like push on this real hard, because we have to push the hip section in far enough that when we close the legs back up, the hip section clears this part here, which it does. I did it right. Yeah, and then we're going to take this. We're going to stick this little piece here. There's a hollow in there, and that's going to slide onto this tab right here. And then there's a like kind of a gap in here that this tab is going to kind of hide into, like that. And that essentially is it. I'm going to stick this back on. And his rotor does spin fairly freely. He has a little landing gear detail here. He doesn't have anything on the front. It's all good. He'll sit more or less fine. So he seems to be a little more back heavy than front heavy, but makes for a pretty decent looking helicopter if you get all of his rotors lined up. But yeah, so there's that. This is them in their alt mode. And they're great little figures. You know, all these figures I think are good enough that they're worth even getting on their own. Granted, of course, you know, these are part of a combiner, and the whole point of getting figures that are part of a combiner is to combine it. I only know just like the tiniest handful of people that are like, I'm going to buy just one figure from that set and not worry about the other ones because I just like this one figure. And I'm like, huh, weird, but okay. Everybody's got their own opinion. But yeah, great little figures. I like them a lot. But anyhow, that's it for today. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. Everybody be good to each other and have a great day. See ya.